and they leave dinosaur footprints, and that's the end of them. I'm like not reading ahead because if I do, I can't read it.
That is surprising. Thank you for stopping by. I'm Elise and I'm here with my podcast, and then it got weird. Today I will be discussing a topic of my choosing with my guest, who this time will be my sister, Carol. She was here before, and this time we will talk about Mothman. Let's start. Oh, okay, so hi. Today Carol is here again. Hi, Carol.
Hello.
Well, I had been reading about Mothman, and it made me remember the Mothman movie.
I'm a pro because, I've seen that movie, that Richard Gere movie, so I know everything about the Mothman.
Wait, not really. So you remember? I remember we saw that movie like 2 or 3
Years
times
ago.
Minimum, I think.
Yeah. I just remember the whole prophecies and the whole bridge thing, and then, yeah, that's all I know.
The movie is the first time that I heard about Mothman.
Mm-hmm.
And now that we're starting off this way, though, but I had actually written a little blurb to start off like in a cool way. So I'm just gonna read it.
Sorry, I ruined it.
I need to talk about the movie. I think we have
cool.
to anyway. So what I wrote is, in November 1966, eerie things began to occur in the small town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Strange lights in the sky, mysterious men in black, and a flying red-eyed creature called Mothman changed this small town forever. Some say it's an omen of cataclysmic events. Others say it's an alien life form with connections to the UFOs. Is it a hoax, or is it the product of mass hysteria? That was the blurb.
That's a good blurb.
I had first heard about Mothman, of course, with that movie. I think a lot of people remember it. It came out actually 2002. I thought it was older for some reason.
Yeah.
What you remember is Mothman, like an omen.
He like showed up to this lady, and then he told her some prophecy or something that people were gonna die. I know he gave the person like a number. You're like number 66 or something like that.
Oh.
And then somehow Richard Gere gets involved in this.
He's like a reporter, I think.
Yeah. And then it turns out like the whole big event in the movies, like there's this bridge is gonna collapse into the water, and all the people in the cars, like they're the victims, and then turns out like the lady who saw Mothman, she was able to like not be on the bridge, so she escaped death, and it turns out there was like 65. If she was on that bridge, she would have been the 66th victim or something like that.
Oh, that's...
Don't take this take this with a grain of salt, because it's been a while since I've seen that movie.
Well, you remember a bit more detail than I did. I just remembered. So what I remembered was Mothman, Richard Gere, and there's like a noise, like, or this might be another movie. I think I'm mixing up the movie, I think Dragonfly, which is also about some omen thing with this. That's with Kevin Costner. I don't know why I kind of mix both Dragonfly and Mothman. If they're both flies.
What if I'm talking about
no,
the
I
Dragonfly
think
movie?
No, yours sounds about right. But yeah, I remember like something like about a noise, I think, and the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And then like at the end there's like a blurb, and it says like Mothman has been seen in other places or something like that, right?
Yeah,
something like that. So that's what I remember from the movie. And of course the movie is not going to be totally educational. It is actually itself based on a book of the same name that came out in 1975. And the guy that wrote this book, he had been, I guess, working on collecting information and witness reports and stuff like that about Mothman for a long time. That book is what the movie is based on. And now that I started to research a little bit about, well, not a little, I think I put some hours into this, but it was interesting. Yeah, because it actually had more stuff than I knew or that I had heard of. And that's what happens usually when you first listen, what stays with your mind when you watch a movie and when you think of whatever topic and you see the movie and it's like, oh, this is about that, but then it's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
I think the movie made a big impact in making it widespread. What do you think, first of all, about Mothman? Like, what do you think? With just so far as what you know, which is probably just the movie,
Okay,
right?
just based on the movie. I mean, I watched it when I was, younger. I thought it was kind of creepy, the whole prophecy thing. Like, kind of give you like a little shivers down my spine.
Mm.
But I guess that's all. I mean, I don't know if it's real or not.
Right.
um, but yeah, don't really have too much to go on.
Right. Yeah.
That being said, if I freaking see it, like I would pee my pants. A stream coming out.
I just leave. Me too, probably. So I'm on the same boat. I mean, at least before I read everything, my opinion, I don't know. Has it changed? I'm not sure. But it's always, interesting to see, like, to think. When I was watching the movie, at the end, you kind of expect more, I don't know, to find out, I guess, more information, like, that would point toward it, pointing toward Mothman, being real, but it kind of just leaves you there. It's a little bit unsatisfying.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I remember too. Actually, Mothman, the area where the whole Mothman lore started was in West Virginia, and it's a small town of Point Pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in 1966 when it happened, the first sighting. And the bridge was in 1967, which I don't know, but the movie seems like it was more recent. I don't feel like it looked like it was 1967.
The bridge thing actually happened?
Whoa. Okay. Yeah, it did. Wait,
I thought that was... No, I thought it was just like a movie based on the lore of the Mothman, and they just like made up a bridge thing.
Yeah, well, okay. So the Mothman sightings were one thing, and then the bridge happened. And the bridge collapsed. It's in a bridge that's connecting Point Pleasant, West Virginia, to Ohio. It's across the river.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 13 months after the first sighting that I'm going to talk to you about. And
okay.
Yeah, so people connect those things because that's the part that's a little bit lazy in the story. In the whole, I guess, legend thing. I mean, I was trying to find out exactly what the connection is, but anyway, I'll talk about that a little farther on. But yeah, so the bridge did collapse, the Silver Bridge, and people did die. And but it was in 1967, which is, I think it looks like in the movie it looks like it would be like in the 90s, I think. Or it's not, or let's say 80s even, I don't know, but I don't remember it looking like it was the 60s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was in 1960s.
I think that's why like we thought that it was like an older movie,
right?
Than just 2002.
Yes, I was mixing both things, right? Like it's an older event, and like it's an actual. So I was just mixing them up, but yeah. So movies, they lie. Don't rely.
If there's one thing we learned today, movies lie to you.
Don't rely on movies for educational purposes. Although, oh yeah, so what I was gonna, this reminded me of something, and I think I mentioned it to you before. I don't know if I mentioned it to you, but I told it to someone, and I think it was Sarah. I think that when I was I was like 13. So I was in biology class, and did I tell you about the teacher that he kind of took over the rest of the remaining school year as a biology teacher? I was, I think, older. I was like 14 or something. No, 13. Yeah, 13. And he took over for the rest of the school year. And I don't know if he had prepared himself for for teaching our class, but I remember we were learning about the cycle of life. Nothing out of the ordinary, pretty standard biology, whatever, anatomy stuff. He said, guys, so this is what happens during life. Now, what happens after death? So when he said that, I was like, what? He took a turn, right? He just took a turn. He's like, what happens after death? We don't know, but there are some people that have some ideas. And he brought, just rolled in the TV, the little stand You know, I mean, not
Oh my god, the rolling stand.
with the TV. You know, just rolls in the TV. He puts on Ghost. He puts on the movie
Oh
Ghost.
my god. That's not appropriate.
It's not appropriate.
That's wrong on so many levels. It's like it's a classroom. You shouldn't be showing
It's bio class.
that kind of movie. And everyone's 13. There's like some strong scenes in that movie.
Yeah, we're all very young. Like we're young, but old enough to know what that was about. And I was like, "What?" No, and he didn't. I don't know if it's even or if I don't know if it's better or worse. But he just forwarded to the part. You know, when the bad guy dies, so like all the little spirits, the little demons, whatever, they come in and take him. Yeah, take his soul away, and then you know, Patrick Swayze's ghost is there. So he was just showing this to us as part of bio, I guess.
Oh my god!
Like this is what happens after death. It was like a documentary, I guess.
Wow.
So I don't know why he thought that was okay to rely on a movie at that moment. And he was a doctor too. I remember that he was a doctor. Yeah, he was a doctor, but he wasn't really a teacher. So he was like a retired doctor or something. Or maybe he was a doctor. You know, quote, quote. Kai. Okay, so I'm not even you know what I mean? Maybe he was a doctor.
Yeah, I know what
you know. But that happened, and it's just something that I never forgot. Like, what? That happened? You know? It was weird. And whenever I tell that to people, they're always confused, like if I'm making a joke, and it's like, no, this was real. Getting back to Mothman, the first documented sighting of Mothman was in West Virginia, in a small town of Point Pleasant in 1966. And I checked, even according to the census of 2019, Point Pleasant, the population is only 4,146 people.
Okay, pretty small.
Yeah, pretty small. And you know, when I was reading, people say it's such a small town. And then I was thinking, you know, our hometown. Do you know how many people?
It's like 1,000 something. I actually recently checked.
Yeah, it's 2,000 something like that. It makes it sound like it was like super far away from like an urban area, like super rural. It wasn't like that. It's just small. But that could contribute to the whole process of a story being told around and like spreading by word of mouth. You know, toward your neighbors. I mean, it's all people that probably know each other up to a certain point, you know. So also, aside from that, also in another nearby town, 5 men were digging a grave, which is best typing. They reported seeing a man-sized shadowy figure fly over their heads. They didn't go into too much detail about that, but then the first report that actually made more of a splash, let's say, was 3 days later on November 15th. And that one is considered like officially the first Mothman sighting. It's two young couples. Actually, yeah, they were married, but they were like 18 and 19. Roger and Linda Scarberry and Steve and Mary Millette. They were two young couples, and they were both in one car at like midnight out in like what's it called, like a foresty area. And they told police that they were chased in their car by a black figure with a 10-foot wingspan and glowing red eyes. And they were terrified, and they left the scene, of course, and they reportedly were chased by it at a speed of about 100 miles per hour. And they reported the sighting immediately, and they said that they wouldn't have done it unless it was actually 4 people that saw it, because it, you know, it's not just I saw it, but also these 3 other people. It's weird that I'm just making this up, right?
Right.
So
that's smart.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes a little bit more. It's a little bit more believable, right? Like you don't feel like you're just taking crazy pills, right? And this was actually near a former World War II munitions site, and it's called the TNT area, and it's super polluted. That area actually was closed off eventually because there was so much pollution. There were so many reports of it being, you know, very polluted, and eventually they had to close it off, especially because people started going to the area thinking how it was a place where Mothman was hanging out at. And they would like do, what's it called? Spray paint, around the, like, I'm having trouble saying the word spray painted. They spray painted some stuff, pictures, drawings of what Mothman looks like, allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
So they did eventually close it down. So that's where they first saw it. And it was on the newspaper. And you could still find the clipping of the newspaper. It's a Point Pleasant Register. And the headline is...
The title is, Couples See Man-Sized Bird, Creature, Something.
Yeah, so that was the headline. And later, an anonymous Ohio newspaper copy editor dubbed him, the creature, as Mothman. They never described him as Mothman from the beginning, but the editor is the one that created that name for him, that nickname for the.
Mm-hmm.
I keep calling it him, but they usually describe as in a male pronoun for some reason. But he's the one that gave the creature the nickname of Mothman, and it seems to be because around the time the Batman TV movie series was super popular, in the 60s. The
Mm-hmm.
super campy one, and there was this bad guy I think called Moth. Anyway, the point is that it seems like they thought that the name would pop more if they give it Mothman.
Ah, right.
Yeah, usually it's better than saying like man-sized bird creature thing. Mothman stays with you more.
Right.
So the newspaper article says that they describe the thing as being about 6 or 7 feet tall, having a wingspan of 10 feet, and red eyes about 2 inches in diameter and 6 inches apart.
The red eyes are 2 inches in diameter?
Yeah, so it's huge,
Jesus.
egg-sized eyes.
Not fun. Not fun to stare into.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so I'm sending you the thingy to read. And there's a pause.
Okay.
So I'll say something.
It was like a man with wings.
Millette said.
It wasn't like anything you'd see on TV or in a monster movie.
So the men and their wives were in Scarberry's car between 11:30 p.m. and midnight when they spotted the creature near the old power plant, which was adjacent to an old World War II munitions dump site, like I said before. The creature was seen standing on 3 occasions and was described as being extremely fast, about 100 miles an hour, and they said that was in flight, but it was a clumsy runner. So it couldn't really run well.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so after there was a report, and the police was sent out, and the police couldn't find anything, but the deputy said that he had seen dust in the vicinity of a coal field. That's what he could find. He said that maybe this could have been caused by the creature. But that sounds like more as someone trying to find something,
Yeah, because you're saying dust
yeah, that's
by a coal
yeah,
mine.
I didn't connect those two.
We went downtown, turned around, and went back, and there it was again.
Millette said to the newspaper.
It seemed to be waiting on us.
So the light gray creature thing scurried along the field, and then it had flown across the top of the car. And they say it apparently is afraid of light.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Don't whisper.
Because I was thinking what I was going to say. It apparently is afraid of light, according to what they reasoned, the young couples, and maybe it thought that it was scaring them off at that moment, scaring off the car, the scary car with the lights.
Mm-hmm.
The young men said that they had seen the creature's eyes, which glowed red, but only when their lights shined on it, and it seemed to want to get away from the lights at all times. They say that it looked like a man with wings, but its head was...
Not an outstanding characteristic.
What does that mean?
I have no idea.
It has two fucking red eyes on its head.
If anything, that's like the scary part, right? The
Yeah,
one thing that like probably you can't say that it's some other like animal or something.
that's the whole selling point of this. Well, the wings and the size.
Yeah.
But the eyes. Those eyes is like, nothing to write home about. It's like, really? So when they heard, and anyway, they ran away. They sped off away from the creature. And the last glimpse that they had, the last thing that they remember about the creature was that they heard a sound like wings flapping, and they said that the bird-looking thing rose straight up into the air like a helicopter.
Ooh.
And they say, they said that they don't find an explanation for it, but it seemed like an animal. However, it was nothing like they had seen before, obviously. And the newspaper asked them, are they going back to look for the creature?
Yes. Yes.
This.
Wait, I thought you were gonna say Millet said again.
Oh, Millet said yes.
Should I say it again?
Yeah. What?
Yes.
Millet said.
This afternoon and again tonight.
And when they asked Scarberry said.
Today.
He said.
But tonight, I don't know.
Okay, so this was taken in right after this detail was taken right, after midnight, and they're saying they're gonna go back to check it out, even though it was scary. I don't get that. Why would you go back?
Troopers.
They actually did go back. They went back and they said that they couldn't find anything, but they felt a creepy feeling of terror or something, which I don't know, makes sense, right? After what they said. After this, more and more reported sightings started to roll in around the area, and actually the next day, after this event, this report from the two young couples in another newspaper, a Mothman sighting made it to the first page of the newspaper, which is usually reserved for more important news. The headline was, "Monster returns to Mason." So 6 or maybe 7 more people became believers in the Mason County monster Wednesday night. What is it that they saw? They don't know. But they have managed to convince a raft of people they saw something. So these sightings were actually from the bordering state, Ohio. So what people were saying was that the same creatures seen by the two couples had maybe crossed state lines across the Ohio River. And by the way, it took me a while to understand because I have forgotten where West Virginia was.
I was literally gonna say something. I was like, wait, Ohio is next to West Virginia?
No, right?
Because Ohio just seems like it's more like middle country.
Oh my god. Yes, thank you.
Right? Okay. I didn't say anything because I was like, I don't want to seem kind of dumb,
Yeah.
I want to hide that.
Well, first of all, there are two things, right? First of all, for me, West Virginia, I didn't know where it was. I knew it was like somewhere around Virginia.
That one, I can't help you with that one, but
I mean, it was like obviously next to Virginia, right? It's West Virginia, so it's its friend, right?
That's friend.
But then Ohio being right next to it, and then so yeah, actually West Virginia borders with Pennsylvania as well.
What?
Yeah, right? Isn't that weird? That is so. I'm just like New Jersey and New York. That's all I know.
Yeah. That's all you need to know. I'm just kidding.
I think a lot of people are kind of like that. Like, I don't know if I'm just speaking for everyone, but I have heard about people from specifically like the Tri-State area, and also the New England area. They're being really like centered around what they live in. Like everywhere else is like non-existent, even if it's still in the East Coast. Like, for me too, I don't know, it's just like New England part, and then there's like, New Jersey, of course, and then I drive down to visit people we would drive down to visit some
Yeah.
people, and it's like you cross Maryland, Virginia. Of course you can go towards the Pennsylvania side, and that's as far as I know. And then suddenly you hop over to Georgia, and then there's Florida. Like in that part, I don't know what is going on there, and that's where Ohio is apparently.
Yeah. I have to look at the map. I'm looking at it right now because I'm just surprised that Ohio's right there.
It sounds so ignorant. And I'm never gonna forget when I was in college. It's here in Japan, So
Hmm.
actually, it's funny, but when I came to Japan, I actually had the opportunity to meet people from not just obviously Japan, but in other countries that were being international students, but also Americans that were not from New Jersey or New York, because we live in a really busy area, right? So like everything, because you have New York City nearby, so like it's not like that's all you need, but it's like such a busy center, and everyone's going to New York, and like we're right there, we're hanging out next to New York, and we're like we do our thing, like that's New Jersey, right? We're like we're next to New York, but we do our thing, So like that's all we really need to know. I think it feels like, and I remember this one of the people in my classes. I said they asked where are you coming from? Like, where are you transferring from? And so people say like, oh, I'm from, I think Connecticut or something. And then I said New Jersey. And then this other guy said like, oh, like he said like, oh, East Coast, just like me. I'm from Ohio. Like he said that. And I was like, what? Like, he's not from Ohio. And I was thinking, oh, what? Like it took me a while. I was like, I didn't know it was there.
Is it considered East Coast?
That's the thing, is it? Because I'm thinking, I don't know, bruh. I don't know if you're considered East Coast. You just kind of sign up in there by yourself. You're not in this club. Is it? Like, all I think about is like, well,
Oh my
first of all,
God.
it's Florida East Coast. It's Florida East Coast. I mean, technically. But is it?
Technically, but it's also kind of like
It's
south.
It's thing, right? Georgia?
Well, because wait, technically the South is considered
It's
part
past
of the
the
East Coast.
Mason-Dixie line, right? So like Virginia is like the last line. I might have to cut this out because I sound very stupid.
Oh wait! I see a highlighted map.
Oh shit.
Okay, so East
Is
Coast.
this for the idiots?
Yeah. No, it turns out we're not the idiots because
yay.
well, Florida is East Coast. So
Well,
Florida,
yeah.
all the because it makes sense. All the ones that touch the
what she
ocean
said.
are East Coast.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
Like,
all the ones.
yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I need one of those
Boom.
buttons. Yeah, I need to get special effects.
Boom, bow, whoa.
Okay,
Anyway,
tough.
so the states that touch the ocean, they're East Coast.
Uh-huh.
At
Yeah.
least according to this first map
According
that
to
comes up on Google. So obviously it's correct, right?
Yeah, I mean that would make sense. But is it?
But I mean, the first one doesn't show. This is from Wikipedia,
Uh-huh.
so that's the scholarly article, right?
Ooh.
Pennsylvania isn't highlighted in this one, but
Oh
then
my
in other
God.
ones it is. In
Wait.
other ones it is.
Yeah, but does Pennsylvania touch the ocean?
It doesn't,
See,
because
that's what
it's
I'm
surrounded by
saying.
New York, New Jersey, Delaware, and Maryland.
It's about a state of mind. It's not about your
New York
geography.
state of mind.
It is. See, he had it right because it's about a state of mind. Because for me, Pennsylvania is on the East Coast. Where the hell is
Yeah.
it? Where is it? No,
No.
it's the East. It's part of the old New England colony.
That's
thing.
true.
Is it? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
need
I
to
think
watch
it was the
Hamilton.
first one. It was the first one.
Oh my god, I'm such an idiot. Of course, Philadelphia. Duh.
Yeah,
Liberty Bell. Saw that.
which
Bang.
we actually went to see in person.
I did thunk thunk to it. I remember that.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, apparently Ohio's on the East Coast. But when I say Mothman, do you think about the East Coast? Like, is it like an East Coast cryptid? I mean, if anything.
I mean, I didn't really know, but if you're saying Georgia, then
What?
I don't
I
think
didn't
I
say
really.
Georgia.
Wait, I'm sorry. Where? Oh, where West
Ohio.
Virginia? West Virginia.
West Virginia. Okay, you just clubbed them all. I see what you're thinking. You think I'm saying you're like, Georgia. It's like, no, it's West Virginia. Excuse you.
Sorry,
That's
West
all we
Virginia.
need to know.
I think I get like, how you said it's the whole state of mind. Like I think my state of mind is like East Coast is like just North New England.
Right? It's so
Yeah.
they call, like, what's it called?
It's
North
so
England.
self-centric.
Yeah. It's something. Yeah, it's something centric. And like if we take it further in North New Jersey, we're like crazy. And even here in Japan too, like when I meet people, they're like, "Oh, where you from?" It's like, "Oh, I'm from North Jersey." And like other people
But you gotta
to,
say you're that's
yeah, because
why.
like where in New Jersey? Like people say, "Oh, I'm from North Jersey," you know. They're like, "Oh, Bergen County," you know, or like some people say, "Oh, it's in the county," and I'm like, "Oh," and then like other people are like, "What the hell? Why are you talking about your counties? Just say your state." And it's like, no, you don't get it. Then people say, "I'm from whatever county," you know. It's like other people think it's stupid, and it's like, you don't get it. You don't get it, do you? Wrong mindset here, buddy. Yeah, but yeah, so this so West Virginia and Ohio are neighboring each
West
other.
Virginia and Ohio.
They're neighboring each
Interesting. I just searched up Midwest,
other.
and Ohio pops up there. That makes more sense.
Does it? I mean, it does, but according to the map, does it? And according to that guy
Yeah.
in my college, does it? He said he's East Coast. That seems to make it. I think it is, though, right? It's considered Midwest.
Yeah.
I don't know anything. I'm really bad.
But I mean, I think there's like this whole. So I think there's a confusion because, confusion like from my part.
Mine too. I was gonna say, I think I'm the one that sounds confused.
So there's, United States is split up into different regions like
No
West,
way.
Midwest, North, New England. I'm sorry, Mid Atlantic, South, and Southwest. And then the whole thing of East Coast, West Coast. That I don't think that's like as
Like a widely stated,
like separated as compared to like Midwest, New England.
right?
It's not as fixed like what states go in each. So I think we're confusing that with
So it seems
this other stuff.
so that points it to be more like subjective. It's not really like everybody knows
Yeah.
this kind of thing.
And then also in this map where it says New England, Midwest, that kind of stuff, technically we're actually Mid-Atlantic. We're not even New England.
Yeah. You know how I found that out? Because I took the accent quiz. It's like, yeah, it was super like crazy precise with me. Because I'm aware that I have an accent, not just New Jersey, but I learned most of my, I guess, language when I was living in like we were living in a urban code for poor in an urban, poor Hispanic area. So a lot of people, even though they're, let's say, like they're native English speakers or whatever, they have like a bit of an accent, that is not like other parts of New Jersey. So I'm aware of that, and like you and I, we sound different, right? And that's because you grew up your language formative years in like more.
Yeah, I started learning when I was younger.
Yeah, like in around the, also like in the white
Yeah,
area.
that too.
Yeah,
I
so
forgot
your
about
accent
that.
is more. Yeah, it's closer to what people would consider to be like
Yeah.
white.
And actually, I never even realized that until you told me, and then I was listening to you, and then I was thinking, wait,
You could hear.
yeah, I can kind of hear it a little bit now that you mentioned
I
it.
don't sound white. Yeah, me too. I was like, wait, what? I say things weird. No, I mean, first of all, aside from not sounding or not saying words from other parts of the states, saying kind of like more local words. Specifically, it pointed that I learned like around. I'm from something like in the Newark or something like that, kind of Newark, Jersey City, like around that part of municipality, like that type of area. They said that my the way I pronounce words is kind of like that.
Oh,
And I was like,
wow.
oh my god. And they just ask your words, and then they just like really pinpoint where you're from. And they said that it's closer to like a mid-Atlantic accent or something like that. It comes from the mid-Atlantic area,
Mm,
and that's the first time that I heard of that. I'm like, oh,
that's really interesting.
yeah,
Kind of want to take that quiz.
yeah, you should. It's on the New York Times, I think. It's legit. It's not like dumb. It's not like someone just made some shit up and just
Not like a BuzzFeed quiz.
yeah, BuzzFeed. It's journalism. Anyway. So, yeah, they say that. So, Mid-Atlantic, New Jersey.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a deep dive into
New
geography.
Jersey. I realized that we just, Jersey-centric for sure. I mean, we're talking about freaking Mothman in Ohio, and then we're like, I'm from New Jersey.
It's not Ohio, it's West Virginia.
Like,
oh wait, no.
yeah.
The second story is from Ohio. Okay. I see how that ties in now.
Yeah. Oh. So we just bored people talking about New Jersey. So Mothman was not in New Jersey.
Now we have the devil, right?
Yeah, I want to talk about that next time. There's a lot of fun things in New Jersey. It's crazy.
Ooh,
There's a lot of
Jersey-centric.
weird stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll go back to that. So the sighting was in Ohio, the bordering state, as we have rediscovered what we should have learned in like 5th grade. So what people were saying was that it was the same creature seen and had crossed. So I guess it was making the rounds a little bit. Which is, it's like one of those things that also makes it a little bit different than like Bigfoot, for example. Which it seems that there is more, like, I don't know if it seems, like you could say anything about but I think the general consensus is that there's more than one Bigfoot. It's like, what's it called? Like cryptozoology. So it's like more about an undiscovered species that's actually like an earthly being. But Mothman, it's been being treated as if it's like this one creature, going around. Like it's not like a population of like animals, I guess you could say, right? So I think they started treating it that way. I think that makes it a little bit different,
Yeah.
So, because I was thinking, how did this eventually tie into the whole bridge, thing? And it's kind of like, because imagine something happens, and Bigfoot is apparently like also reaches the area of New Jersey too, actually, New York and stuff. Yeah. But like, I mean, let's say something happens in like freaking, I don't know, like in New Jersey, okay? Nobody's gonna be like, oh my god, it's a Bigfoot thing. Yeah, Bigfoot curse. No, you wouldn't imagine Bigfoot cursing anything, right? It's not.
Right, yeah. That's true.
It doesn't
It's
have
more
like,
of an animal
thing, right? Like the question is if it's real, not like if it's making things happen. And I think with Mothman, it's more like, what is Mothman's purpose? I'm not sure. Like eventually, it just got this vibe, right? Oh, and actually, when this happened, the newspaper that interviewed these people, they actually wrote was possibly the first ever conspiracy theory about Mothman.
Oh. You see, it's that talk of going to the moon and that stuff. It's hard to tell what they've caused to come back to Earth.
So that's
Wow, okay. I can see how this is going to be a conspiracy theory.
right? And it was at the time of the moon landing, right? I mean, we're all talking about this whole, I guess it's like actually like a high stress moment for Americans. I mean, the whole moon landing, space race, all that stuff was happening. So it's like, oh, Mothman is from the moon. Moon, quote. See, like, if this guy says that to me, I would say, first of all, are we really going to the moon? First of all, you get your facts. Are you
straight. Sure it wasn't all? Yeah.
You give me a conspiracy theory, and I give you another one. So,
they're endless.
Yeah, there's this interview. Actually, there's this Jim Jeffries. He has this clip, and he puts like these people in a room, and is like what's it called? Moon landing conspiracy theorist, a flat earther.
Oh yeah.
I don't know who else. QAnon person. Yeah, QAnon. And they start explaining. They're like, "Wait, you believe that? Like that makes no sense. So what do you mean the Earth is flat?" And they're all like, "What? You're dumb, basically." And he's just watching them like,
they're all like shitting on each other.
Yeah, it's like you don't understand. My point of view is the real one. Like, no. You're the one that's making stuff up. Yeah, I come with the truth. Like they're all saying that, and it's like, well, one of you has to be wrong, right? At least one. You can't all be right. About Mothman, the reports increased, and each description from all these various witnesses had the whole part of the eyes being huge and like red. That's what she said. Huge and red, and 6 inches. Jesus, 6.
It's not getting better.
Huge red, 6 inches.
Oh God, no.
Ew. 6 inches apart.
Oh, the eyes. Okay.
Just sounds bad.
6 inches apart.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that thing looks
Fucking
messed
weird.
up.
Like, wait, really? I mean, it's just a gray ghoul looking thing with wings, and just now you're like, that looks weird.
But it didn't have any outstanding features, at least.
Oh yeah, it's pretty normal except for the horrible face. And the thing that was something that came to my mind was like, okay, so 6-inch separation between the eyes, and isn't this thing like flying like 100 miles per hour?
Does it have? Are its eyes like on the side of its head like a bird? Is that why it's 6 inches? Because 6 inches is a lot.
See, like that ties in with eventually what becomes one of the explanations that people have is like it's like a huge owl. Because if you think about an owl,
But then owl's eyes are in the front of its face, and it's not 6 inches apart.
and he's like a funny looking owl. Don't make fun of him. He was near the. Excuse me, I thought we were not judging people here by their appearance.
That's true.
Maybe he
I'm
was
being
just
terrible.
looking for love. Those two couples were in the car. Who knows
That's
what
true.
they were doing, those young teenagers in the middle of the forest. Two couples. What perverts. I mean,
What perverts.
Mothman is like, I'm enjoying you guys. They just fluent. No, they're like, no, you're ugly. You're ugly. That's why he hates the light. He's like, I don't want to see what I look like.
Yeah.
He's been shamed so many times. Yeah, that's why he hates the light. He's like, I'm a monster. It's like, how the Beast in like Beauty and the Beast movie, like he breaks all the mirrors in his house because he like there's a picture of him and he's like, I'm ugly. Like he like tears apart. He's like, I don't like cars. The cars come here with the lights. I can see myself in the dark. That's why he chases him away. He's like, you're reminding me of how I'm ugly. I was hiding here with my hideous face, my hideous 2 big red eyes, 6 inches apart.
6 inches.
And he walks funny too. So that's not helping. He's probably not the most popular monster around. He says he can only fly, he can't walk. He like shuffles.
He's just lonely.
They say he shuffles around like a penguin. According to the reports. They're like, oh, he sucks at walking. See, we go back to St. Robert, the dolls like this. I think we are the bad ones. Like he's the suffering one here.
Yeah. Poor Mothman.
Poor Mothman. So more reputable sources than these people, they were starting to offer some explanations. For example, like they were saying, for example, that the residents were actually witnessing what was a large sandhill crane, but it was pointed out very quickly by the University of Ohio's zoology department that there had never been a known sighting of a sandhill crane in that area. So that's crazy talk. This is the Mothman. Can't have no sandhill cranes around here. We've never seen one before. Those are lies. And also, another funny thing was that so the student members of Proctorville Fairland High School Science Interest Club, this is very Science Interest Club.
It was sounding very official until the interest started.
We're just fans, really. Yeah, we study science. It's like, okay. They had a guess of their own as to what it was because they believe that this unidentified object was actually a gas-filled balloon, one of the 2 that they have released to study air currents. So they have released 2 of these, and they're like, maybe it's one of ours. Do they look like weather balloons? I'm not sure. It doesn't specify. It just says gas-filled balloon from the Science Interest Club. High school one. There, yeah. And another report that stood out to me. This is okay. So this one stands out to me for many what could be personal experience reasons. It's a woman called Mrs. Bennett, and she reported that, and this is in the newspaper, so I can post a picture of Instagram of the actual news clipping. I did my research anyway. So it says she was carrying her baby in her arms. She walked to her car and was suddenly confronted with what she describes as a huge gray winged.
What? I don't know anymore.
Native English. Okay, anyways,
Yeah.
let me start again. Mrs. Bennett, who was carrying her baby in her arms, she walked to her car and was suddenly confronted with what she describes as a huge gray winged creature with large red eyes. And she screamed and, panic-stricken, dropped her baby and fell to the ground. Okay,
Ooh.
I have a problem here. You don't drop your baby.
Oh, I see why you say this is a personal
I'm sorry, but anyone that has had a child, or like, of course, if you have, taken a child as your own, if you adopted a child, I think you develop the same, what's it called, instincts, right? They come out in you. Whenever something scary happens and you're holding a baby, usually you hold it closer to you. I think whenever I was holding my kid, something scary happened. I just held them closer to my body. I didn't just fucking drop them. Scary, drop. No, I would fall to the ground holding my child, and that's really natural. Like, even from the moment that you're pregnant, and it's not just me. I mean, this is something that other people do, and I have talked to other people about it. Like, once you're pregnant, anything happens, like you trip up or something, you just grab your belly. You just put, even before your belly's big, you're like 3 months or 4 months in, and you realize, that not 2 months, you can't know. Yes, you can. No, just kidding. I can't. Like, you know that you're pregnant. Whenever the moment that you know you're pregnant, and you, of course, want to keep the pregnancy, the first thing that happens when you feel that your body is at risk, you just you cradle your belly. It's just instinct. Like, you just, the baby. Well, the baby. We'll talk about if it's a baby. So yeah, you put your hands around your belly because you're trying to protect, your belly, because you're pregnant. And now, of course, when it's the baby, it's like an actual person. It's the same, the same instinct comes in. Whenever something scary happens, just hold the baby closer to you. What is this woman talking about? Like, that's why I'm like, is this real? Because you don't just drop your child, right? It's weird. You don't just drop your baby. So I don't know. That's what it's like. I don't know. Like, I don't know if this is a real account, because it just doesn't make sense to me. Aside from, the whatever Mothman, being real or not, just she dropped her baby. It's questionable.
And then what happened after she dropped her baby?
She says that she fell to the ground. Like, it's all that she says. There's nothing else.
And then it just like disappeared.
She picked up her baby, I guess.
I should hope so.
I think it flew away from her or something, or it waddled away. So the sightings continued from there, and some said that the creature chased them into the ground. Other people say that allegedly they suffered from bleeding eyes after seeing it. And along with the Mothman sightings, actually something interesting that I found that I didn't know before, because I had only learned my things from the Richard Gere movie. The Men in Black were added into the whole mix.
Oh, wow.
Actually,
so Mothman's an alien?
No way. So I couldn't have thought that anybody would ever say that. Actually, it was the author of the book, The Mothman Prophecies, on which the movie is based on. He was the person that coined the term MIB as shorthand for the Men in Black.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, he writes it on his book. He actually was close, or I don't know if close, but he talked often to one of the reporters that was in the scene of not in the scene of the witness scene, because she didn't see it, but she was one of the people that were like the first people that were interviewing directly the witnesses. So she was interested in this whole case. So he wrote down that she was visited by what she described to be a man who was very short, about 4.6 feet tall, and had strange, dark, deep-set eyes covered by glasses with thick lenses. He was wearing odd shoes with very thick soles, which probably added about an inch or two to his height. He had long black hair, cut squarely like a bowl cut, and spoke in a peculiar, low, halted voice. She said that at one point in the discussion, I'm guessing he was asking her what she was doing because she was working late at night, she answered the telephone and noticed that the man picked up a ballpoint pen from her desk. He looked at it in amazement, as though he'd never seen one before. Then he grabbed the pen, laughed loudly, and ran out the building. What? Ha 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 ha, and just walks away. You know, like, this is weird, right? After this, other mysterious unknown people were reported to frequent the small town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, usually dressed from head to toe in black suits, white shirts, black ties, and black shoes, which all maybe appeared to us to be, you know, perfect appearance, like a normal appearance. Well, not normal, but, you know, nothing that really pops out at us, but it was completely out of style for the time of 1966 and 1967. So they were, you know, easy to, I guess, it was easy for them to look weird, I guess, for the people. And they are said to have asked questions about the Mothman, and they told the people to not speak about it, the people that they talked to. And actually, the witnesses were interviewed, and they were kind of, I mean, I would say harassed. Allegedly, these men in black went into their houses and questioned them. And, you know, and of course, I think people connected it to, well, not just, let's say, okay, that the men in black are, I mean, we're believing a lot of things, but let's say the men in black did visit these people. Of course, even if they didn't say the word Mothman, people are going to be like, oh, you know, small town, that's all we know, Mothman's weird, and then, like, this is happening. They're definitely connected, you know, and it's all around the same time. So I think if you believe in one, you can believe in both things, right? So they say that the MIB wore black suits, black hats, and sunglasses. This is a person's account. Linda Scarberry, who was one of the four in the young couple sighting. She was interviewed later on. She said that they wore black suits and black hats and sunglasses. They drove black cars. She thinks they're Cadillacs, and they look like human beings, but their skin was somewhat transparent. You could see the veins in their hands very clearly. Their fingers were longer than a normal person's fingers as well. Fingers as well. Her dad shook hands with them, and he said that they were awkward in shaking hands. I mean, okay, that's subjective. They seemed...
There's a lot of people that don't know how to shake hands.
Yeah, maybe they were just, you know, it doesn't have to be like, oh, they're aliens, but anyway, or like they're weird. They could just be weird people. Anyway, so they seem to not know what to do or how to shake hands. Take that as you will.
So they're obviously alien, you know.
Yeah.
Involved with aliens.
Totally. Okay, now she's I don't know. She says that one of the cars would follow them around, though, and there were 3 men in each car. And she says that the MIB went so far as to follow them through a drive-through restaurant. So, and the other couple... They're
not very conspicuous, are they?
That's the thing, too. They're driving this car that is out of, I guess, the ordinary, and they're wearing funny clothing.
And they follow you through the drive-thru.
Follow you. I don't know. That's the thing, like, you know, I don't want to say that this is fake either. I mean, people see what they see, and I don't want to just say, like, oh, this is stupid. Like, I don't want to do that, but I don't know, like, it doesn't make sense that they're so open about, I mean, not open, but they're just going around looking very different, you know, that calls attention to themselves. Anyway. Yeah. And the couple in the first sighting, they said that they were visited at their house by a man and woman of similar description to the MIB, as described by others, and they had a camera, and they were asking to take their picture. They denied that, and they took down the plate number of their car, which they checked with the police, and they confirmed that the number was non-existent.
Can you imagine like people just showing up at your door and being like, "Hey, we're gonna take a picture of you."
They're just perverts. It's not the Men in Black. It's just pervs. um, so all this Mothman talk, suddenly found, I think, more staying power after the whole event of the 1967 collapse of the Silver Bridge, which did happen. And like I said, it connected Point Pleasant, West Virginia, which is home of the Mothman sightings, to Gallipolis, Ohio. And okay, so this is 13 months after the first reported sighting of Mothman. And now they did professional, of course, they did professional. Sorry, what?
No, I just said,
Okay. So they did professional analysis, obviously, of what happened to the bridge. It was apparently carried much heavier loads than it had been originally designed for. And it had been poorly maintained. And they found that the main defect was on the 13th pin. So it's like 13 and 13,
Oh, bad luck. Wait, so there's no like there's no one claiming that they had some sort of specific encounter with the Mothman in regards to the bridge.
See, this is the part that I'm like, that part is lazy because. So I feel like it's just kind of grasping at straws a little bit, in my opinion.
So pretty much like it's just like the Mothman things where like people were seeing the Mothman and then all of a sudden a bridge collapses and then they're like, hey, it collapsed because the 13th bolt was like bad. And, like that's it. That's the only connection.
That happened. Like the sightings apparently they started to increase around the time of the bridge accident disaster, and they slowed down after that. So it's like, oh, Mothman was either telling us about this or he brought it on. It's like, oh, so he did his work, let's say, and the bridge fell. Okay. And it's just like, so that's really the only connection between Mothman and the bridge. And that's the one that people know about the most. Like, oh, bridge, Mothman.
Because of the movie.
See? The movies, like, I think the movie
movie's lying to me.
God, Carol. God. So gullible.
Why does Hollywood do this to me?
I wonder how many things I believe to be true because of a movie and they're not.
Yeah.
It's like Jurassic Park, like the whole thing that most of the dinosaurs that are featured on Jurassic Park are not from the Jurassic period. Mostly are Cretaceous. Right?
What?
But the name Cretaceous Park sounds lame. So
That's
they
true.
went with Jurassic Park.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
And we're all ignorant sluts.
I just see dinosaurs, I'm like, they're all dinosaurs. Yes, I am an ignorant slut.
I am, because I didn't know Ohio is next to West Virginia. And then I said it's Georgia. Of course they're going to trick me about dinosaurs. So that's that's one of the things. And there's a lot of other things that people... I'm saying this as if it's like news to everyone. Don't believe the movies. So the bridge, the Silver Bridge collapsed, and the Mothman, they don't have like any direct. Like for example, in the movie, the lady, she said that the number 66 and the amount of people in the bridge,
like
the movie
less.
Actually, yeah, the movie makes more sense, So it doesn't go that. It doesn't. Things are not that clear, The closest thing is that there's a. So the lady that got interviewed by the Men in Black, she told John Keel, who is the writer of the book Mothman Prophecies. She told him November. Okay, she told him on November 19th, which he wrote this down in a book that was written after the bridge collapsed. On December 15th, she told him that on November 19th, she had a terrible nightmare. There were a lot of people drowning in the river, and Christmas packages were floating everywhere in the water. It's like something awful is going to happen. And
when was the bridge collapse?
What?
When was the bridge collapse?
December 15th. So people were still doing like Christmas shopping and stuff. So this happened. She told him, allegedly, November 19th. Bridge collapsed December 15th. And he wrote this down on his book, which was published 1975. Yeah. And then also when the writer says that around Thanksgiving, people in the area were having dreams and nightmares about a coming disaster. And one person named Virginia Thomas had them about people dying in the water of the nearby Ohio River. I mean, I don't know. If this was before, then it would make more sense, but this after.
Right, you can always claim whatever afterwards, right?
Yeah, I'm being like a downer, but I wish this was closer to before, closer to the time before the bridge collapse. This is like people saying this afterwards, so I don't know. The sightings happened, mostly around November 15th to December 15th, 1967, so it's like 13 months, and then suddenly they stopped, seemingly, as if everything was building up toward the event, and then that was the whole point of Mothman showing up a lot. And then there have been sightings of Mothman, and what's it called? And around other parts of the world where disasters happened. And I think this was because the Mothman was associated with the whole thing of being an omen of doom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he was reportedly seen all over the world where tragedy struck. And, the creature had gone on... Excuse me?
Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide. Mothman had become kind of like... He had switched from small town lore to global icon, Mr. Worldwide. Because apparently people saw him in Chernobyl before the disaster there, and there's this picture, and it's kind of gross, but it's there in the World Trade Center, like right when the one of the buildings is collapsing. Around there's the debris flying out, and there's this little thing that people say that's like flying around there, and it's Mothman. I don't know. This was televised. This whole thing was televised. And no one else saw that. I don't know. This is very likely photoshopped. It's just kind of gross to do that, but they say that he was there. Was he bringing the problems, or was he telling people, warning people about it?
So there's still not like a clear distinction whether he's the bringer of doom, or like he's just telling you to be careful because something bad's gonna happen, right?
And what's it called? Yeah, so people think that it could be maybe like an angel or a demon or the product of this thing that I didn't know. There was a prominent Shawnee leader, a Native American named Chief Cornstalk, and he and his son were murdered around the area, and they say that he put a blood curse on it. And they say that this is also part of the collapse of the Silver Bridge, and I didn't find really any clear information on how those things are attached also, like this man's blood curse and the bridge. I mean, I don't see, just people say that, just people say lots of things. I mean, it doesn't make sense that the people in Point Pleasant would lend themselves to believe in a folktale like this. I think because it's like a perfect place for this type of stuff. I mean, it was a small city, and it was such an event, such a huge, an event for a small community, and I mean, everyone knew each other. Well, sorry, not everyone knew each other, but people did. The Scarberries and the Millets were not just random strangers. I mean, there's people that knew them, and
Right,
it's more
they're part of
likely,
the community.
yeah, part of the community, and it's more likely to be believed, if you're not just some rando, right? And when weird things happen to others, I guess maybe some people use the Mothman as a scapegoat, I guess, for things that you can't explain. It's not like, oh, our bridges suck, like it's not. I remember hearing about the state of bridges in the United States. They're horrible. I mean, they're all just rackety, like it's just, it's really bad. They're really not maintained properly, and instead of thinking, hey, maybe we should think about how our bridges are bad, people start to think, oh my god, Mothman. Right? Like, monster.
Like,
not our fault.
Maybe you should focus on something else.
Although apparently the whole collapse of the bridge did, other states started to put what's called laws, implemented laws about how to that they need to maintain bridges at a certain time goes by. They need to maintain them, which sounds like common sense, but there was no real what's it called? There were no, what's the word? No laws. What is it called? There were no. Okay, I'm just gonna say there were no laws enforcing this. So, I mean, other people did think logically about how this happened and how we could prevent it, while others, I guess, just ran with the idea of Mothman. Like, we don't need to think about this. It tends to happen. We tend to do that. So, basically the size of the community, it allowed for everyone to either have a story or know someone with a story, and it kind of furthers the belief. And it's like a social support for the belief that, Mothman was there, and everyone kind of, no one wants to be left out, kind of, I think that's pretty normal. I mean, we're social creatures. It's not just being stupid. It's like, if other people start saying that they saw it and you're like the only person in your town that hasn't, or doesn't know someone that did,
Yeah. Especially, I think also, didn't Mothman kind of like put them on the map?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, so like it kind of, I guess, becomes, well, it becomes folklore and like just like what you're known for, so you don't really want to be like saying, oh no, that's like complete bullshit, right?
Brings it, as you said, it puts the city in a position that it can have some renown, and actually because of, well, not because of this, but actually connected to the whole Mothman thing and how it's a small town. There is an annual Mothman festival that happens, and it started in 2002 actually, and people were brainstorming about creative ways for people to visit Point Pleasant, and the group organizing the event chose a Mothman to be the center of the festival, of course due to its uniqueness, and as a way to celebrate the local legacy in the town. And the average attendance for the Mothman festival is estimated to be between 10 to 12,000 people per year.
It's a yearly festival they hold?
Yep. And I just did the math. Well, it's not even math. I just compared the numbers. Population 4,000. Visitors for the festival 10 to 12,000.
Right. So they're getting, their tourist money in there.
Yeah. And I think now I just thought about it, actually. Maybe that's why it's more convenient, and maybe unconsciously convenient for the Mothman to not be like a normal cryptid, like I said, like Bigfoot that could be wandering around. This kind of Mothman is here, and maybe there's only one Mothman, so other states or other cities can't claim it as their own, because it's pretty local, and it's convenient, I guess, for it to be local. And there's this there's a Mothman Museum and Research Center, and this opened in 2005, and it has like a really cool 12-foot metallic statue of Mothman. It was unveiled in 2003. If you look up on the internet, you could see the statue. I think it's pretty cool. It looks pretty cool. It's, and there's a Mothman cam. It's looking at the statue.
Oh.
So I don't know. I mean, we established Mothman doesn't like his appearance, so why would he go look at a statue of himself?
Oh, I see how they made the eyes 6 inches apart now. Yeah, so kind of like a bird.
Yep.
The eyes on the side of the head.
Pretty creepy.
Yo, he got abs for days.
What is a Mothman's diet? We haven't established. That's weird because usually you see like animals being, killed or something. There's nothing. I guess he doesn't consume anything. Should they make fun of that? Not funny. I'm gonna delete that. Yeah, so that's the Mothman, and the festival. It's held on the third weekend of every September, and as expected, it hosts exhibits, vendor exhibits, guest speakers, pancake eating contest.
Wow.
And hayride tours of locally notable areas. I don't think Mothman's eating pancakes. I don't think he's into carbs. As you said, look at him.
That's true. You can't get those abs with that kind of diet,
Pancake eating contests? I don't think he will like. Maybe that's why he's not visiting. He's like ill. And actually, in June of 2020, a petition was started to replace all Confederate statues in the United States with statues of Mothman.
I mean,
I don't know if he
I got
stands
nothing
for
against that.
But does he stand for something? I mean, come on.
I mean, he stands for something better than what the other ones stand for.
Ooh, hot take.
Ooh.
Hot take. Yeah, I want to have a button that says like hot take because I have a lot of hot takes. Like last podcast, like Sarah had a hot take. Well, I did about chickens. Yeah, so the petition so far has garnered nearly 19,000 signatures. It's giving momentum.
Wow. So, coming soon, Mothman statue near you.
That's yeah.
Maybe, sorry, I had a genius idea. Maybe this is how we can find out which states are considered South. If they have a Confederate statue.
Like go visit. It's like, I don't see Mothman here. I know a lot about you. You look at like a tracker of like Mothman, what's it called, statue building, on the internet, like counter. Like how many and where.
Then you'll know.
This is a genius idea. Very smart here.
Yes.
And talking about smart people, I found this interview. It's the author of the Mothman Prophecies book, and after listening to this interview, the what you think of the movie and the book might change. I don't know. For me, it did a little bit, a lot. Okay, so he was on Letterman actually, and I want you to read the little blurbs that I'm gonna be Letterman.
Okay. So I read this?
Yep.
Here in the United States, every year or two, we have kangaroos jumping around Illinois, Connecticut, various parts of the United States. We know there are no kangaroos here. Police go out and chase them, shoot at them, they disappear. We never...
So what is your theory? Where do you think they're coming from? So he's talking about how there's weird, wonky things happening.
The same place that the dinosaurs are coming from. Oof. Because we have dinosaurs turning up every couple years. Oh, I can't not laugh. About 10 years in Italy. What? About 10 years ago in Italy?
I don't know.
Oh, this is just exactly what he says? All right.
Don't question it. We're not questioning things here. All right.
About 10 years in Italy, the Italian army turned out to chase the dinosaur in the mountains of northern Italy. Wait, I need to reread this. Right, okay. I'm trying to continue sounding like very zealous, but like I can't. All right. now I know what I'm gonna like say. So the same place that the dinosaurs are coming from.
Why you have to challenge yourself and start all the way from the top? It just gets crazier
to edit.
after that, though. After that. Okay. Okay, you know what? Now you have to start from the top because I was laughing. I forgot what I was saying.
Wait, which one? The same place?
Yeah.
Or the here in the United States?
Oh no. Okay, same place.
The same place that the dinosaurs are coming from. Stop laughing! I'm doing awesome here, and then you just start cracking up.
Try it.
Alright. I gotta get serious.
Okay, sorry.
The same place that... This is so dumb.
Okay, I'm gonna take off one.
I can do this.
Okay, you can do this. I believe in you.
I can do this. The same place the dinosaurs are coming from, because we have dinosaurs turning up every couple years. About 10 years in Italy, the Italian army turned out to chase... Oh, damn it, Elise.
just keep going.
Okay. About 10 years in Italy, the Italian army turned out to chase the dinosaurs... Shit, I read that wrong.
Dude.
About 10 years in Italy, the Italian army turned out to chase the dinosaur in the mountains of northern...
Okay, sorry. Okay, continue.
And they leave dinosaur footprints, and that's the end of them. I'm like not reading ahead, because if I do, I can't read it.
Let it surprise you.
And they leave dinosaur footprints, and that's the end of them. They can't find where they've gone. We've got better monsters than that. We've got our sea serpent, which...
You sound so defensive too. You're like, no, we got the sea serpents. We're better. Okay,
which we have several lakes in the United States that have sea serpents, not just Loch Ness. Oh my God.
Okay, Letterman. Where is a serpent in this country?
Lake Champlain in New York State.
Really? What is up there?
Henry Hudson was the first to go up there. Reported seeing... What? Oh, okay.
He's, talking.
Henry...
Stream of consciousness.
Henry Hudson was the first to go up there. Henry Hudson and his crew saw a sea serpent in Lake Champlain, and every year somebody sees it up there, and nobody has yet organized an expedition to go up there and really look into it.
Well, let's you and me drive up there. The crowd laughs.
Alright, we'll go up there next week.
Take the Italian army with us. We'll get those boys.
Well, the one in Loch Ness has been photographed a number of times. Movies have been made of it, and the movies have been examined by the RAF specialists, and they're obviously some kind of large animal living in Loch Ness.
Letterman turns and gets a plaster cast of a large foot. Now, this, what do we have here?
This is a plaster cast of a big footprint. Now, you've all heard of the abominable snowman in the Himalayas. We have in the United States a creature that's variously called Sasquatch or Bigfoot, and he's found not just in Washington and Oregon, but he's found all over the United States, especially in the Mississippi Valley and even in New Jersey. We have quite a lot of reports in New Jersey, and that's where this footprint comes from.
That's a little excerpt of the interview. Doesn't get any better from then on either, so I just had to stop because it just goes on like this. And this is the man that wrote the Mothman prophecies. In which the movie is based on. Sea serpent dude.
You mean dinosaur dude?
Dinosaur, the one. In the dinosaur, the one that lives in the mountains. So this is the author, Mr. Keel. He's the one that wrote the book, The Mothman Prophecies, and the movie was based on this. This is the man that brings forth to a worldwide stage the story of Mothman.
Yeah, this is not, making his case any more believable.
Yeah. This was a crazy part. Everything else is like, okay, like small town lore, okay. And then this dude.
He's like a hardcore believer.
Yeah, and you know what? The funny thing is that he's like really nationalistic. He literally said, "We have better dinosaurs here." I don't know what his deal is. He's just, and Mothman is also very local. Maybe that's why he likes him. Yeah.
Like, also because, Mothman, there is no Mothman abroad either.
Except when he went
He's
to
uniquely
Chernobyl.
American. Oh, except when he was Mr. Worldwide. I forgot.
Yeah, but he was just visiting. He's still a U.S. citizen. So yeah, I just realized that pattern now that you're reading it, because so this is an excerpt, like what's it called, a transcript, of the transcript, and of course I read it, but then to hear it being read is like another experience. To hear you struggle through it, to
like we've said, like I couldn't read ahead, because if I read ahead, that means like my brain would understand what I'm saying, and then I wouldn't be able to read without laughing.
And this interview, by the way, was on July 28th in 1980. So this was 5 years after he published the book.
Oh, okay.
And like 20-something years, 22 years before the movie was released. And actually, I was reading about the director of the movie, and he says he came across the story of Mothman and he found it interesting, and the way that he portrayed it in the movie, he didn't want to write it as like a thing that is real. He says, I'm paraphrasing, but this is the concept of what he said. Like the goal of how he wanted the movie to come across is not about like this. There's this thing that happened. It was more about how humans process information, and how we kind of want to find the supernatural side, and something like that. It's kind of more. I guess this is how we get creeped out by events.
Right.
It's kind of like that. But I want
to know. And I would definitely say the movie like fits that kind of framework that he was thinking of doing.
Yeah. It's more like about the emotions. I guess maybe, and also like about how we're not really in control of our destiny, really. Because in the movie, like, she does get saved, but it's not because she had actual control of the situation. It's because, someone from outside helped her. So even if we're gonna avoid something, it's not in our hands.
Yeah.
That's why it kind of leaves you with a weird feeling too when you finish watching the movie, because it's like, oh, okay, she got saved, but people died, and just I think maybe he wanted to appeal to that side of how we're actually not in control. Facing the fact that we could have done something about it, like check on bridges. So it's Mothman. As always, I find out that whatever thing that I research, it kind of ends up talking more about us than the thing. You know what I mean? We have issues.
Why are we the way that we are?
Yeah, why are we the way that we are? It says a lot about ourselves, our nature. That's it for Mothman for today.
I see. I definitely learned a lot about him.
Yeah, me too.
Learned that everything I knew about him had nothing to do with him. Because it was a bridge.
So do you think Mothman is real?
Highly doubtful.
Would you be afraid to go into the forest of Point Pleasant?
Maybe for other reasons, because I just wouldn't like to go in a forest at night. And then also because I think I'm a bit of a coward. If I went by myself, like, definitely no. If I went with someone else, then, like, I think I'd be more okay. Yo, you want to go?
No. Never.
Let's go.
I think the scariest thing, I might call this out, but I don't know. The scariest thing was, and I don't even believe really in the Illuminati, but the scariest thing was going by the, what's it called? Remember the lodge? The Masons.
That was Freemasons, though, right?
Yeah. People say it's the Freemasons that are connected to the Illuminati and the devil and the world order and all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So it just goes on from one thing to the other. But I was like, oh my god, the one in Japan, remember?
Yeah, I couldn't believe that they were like so open with their title. Like a big ass sign right there in front, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I thought this was like secret.
They're like the most unsecret secret society, really. There's like so much that you can find out, but not everything. Well,
wait,
we know.
Are women still not allowed to be Freemasons?
Nope.
Wow, I think we should add someone to cancel culture.
They're not as enlightened.
I think someone needs to be canceled.
It's like a boys' club, really. You know, they get together and have a little outfits.
It's just like a major man cave.
It is. They're like Boy Scouts. The little badges. Ugh. They have like the levels. And they have secrets. I mean, they're pretty open about things. They have initiations. I mean, they don't have to be as like evil or dark as, you know, people say they are, but there's definitely like initiations and stuff like that. I saw this documentary and they were being interviewed, and the women basically were mostly saying like, oh, you know, it's just the thing he does for fun, and you know, whatever. Like, I don't really ask him questions about it, and I just meet the other ladies and they're all pretty nice, and give him space.
Yeah, sounds like a mix of a frat party with like man cave and like LinkedIn. Like, you know, like making connections and stuff.
Yeah. Have you heard of a coconut grove?
No.
Okay. This is like this whole thing too. Boys Club, and it's real. George Bush was there.
It's like a club,
similar
also?
to Skull and Bones, kind of like that. But Skull and Bones is a fraternity in, like, I think it's Yale, right? And a lot of famous people had been a part of it. What's it called?
And then Coconut Grove is something like that, you said?
Yeah, it's like where all the Epstein Island without the children. it sounds like there's none of that.
I should hope so.
Yeah, but it's like it's this place, and they go for meetings. You know what? I was thinking always of making an episode about that too. It's one of the things that I'm like, oh, like, it's interesting. And it's kind of like, oh, it's more than what it seems. So they're like, is it? And there's like, oh, and then there's like, you know, like, oh, it's kind of like that, which is pretty interesting. All right, so we talked for a while, but it was fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. So how do you guys like this format? I'm enjoying it. I think it's a little bit of a change that I might keep going in this direction. Do you have any suggestions of topics? Please drop me a line. Also, please follow me on Instagram, itgotweird.podcast. Follow me there. I post a lot of things, and not just about the podcast. I hope to see you there. As always, I ask you to please subscribe and rate. Your support means so much to me, and it is the only way that I can keep going on with this little project of mine. I keep saying many, many times that this is a learning experience for me. There's a learning curve, and I hope to keep bringing you content that is hopefully entertaining. Now, you can just listen, but if you do wish to contribute a little bit, I am on Patreon, and also I am on Coffee. You can buy me a coffee. And that's all for these announcements. And well, I will be signing off. And hey, remember, watch out for sea serpents. They seem to be around everywhere. Thank you for joining my little campfire. Goodbye.